Today, we will be trying out a different kind of video, wherein I answer the anime theories that you guys have put inside of my comment sections. With my usual style of video, I unfortunately cannot answer most of the theories that are posted inside of my comment section. So, I will be starting a new series that seeks to solely address these kinds of theories. Without further ado, let's get into the first theory. This theory comes from Alex S. Now Alex says, I have a quick question. Just wanted to know your opinion on the matter. Do you think Kirito from Sword Art Online, the anime, would support Donald Trump? Now, this is a pretty difficult theory to prove, mainly due to the fact that Kirito does not often talk about his political affiliation within Sword Art Online. However, based on the fact that Kirito is an active gamer, it is pretty safe to assume that he, at the very least, would not be favorable towards Donald Trump due to his previous connection between video games and violence. This next theory comes from Exitium Tomb. Can catgirls own pets? Now, this theory depends heavily on the laws of the land where these catgirls reside, and also on how catgirls exist inside of the world. If catgirls have the intelligence to operate as a normal functioning member of society, then I don't see any reason as to why catgirls should not be allowed to own pets. However, with that being said, in some interpretations of catgirls, they are under domestic ownership, in which the catgirls themselves have practically no rights of their own. So, inside of this specific situation, it seems unlikely that they would be allowed to own pets. This next theory comes from Liquid_Fide. Does catgirls pay taxes? Once again, this theory depends on a wide variety of variables. The first and most important variable would be whether these catgirls are making a significant amount of income, as that is pretty much the only way that they would be taxed. However, they could also be taxed if they are purchasing significant amounts of things. Once again, the difference between domestic ownership and individualism with catgirls applies here in this theory. So, if the catgirls have individual free will, then yes, it does seem likely that they would have to pay taxes. However, if they live in an area that has no income tax or sales tax, then it seems unlikely that they would be paying any significant amount in taxes. Next up, from Depressed Degenerate. Is Mr. Clean a stand user? While Mr. Clean does possess otherworldly cleanliness powers, I would hesitate to call him a stand user. This is mainly due to the fact that we never see Mr. Clean summon anything that would remotely resemble a stand. Rather, his powers are far more similar to that of Hamon, because they come from his own body and not from an outside body such as a stand. If anything, I think that it would be more likely to say that Mr. Clean himself is the stand. Now, coming from Leedzerpan, is Jesus a trap? Now, I am not entirely certain as to why you would ask me if Jesus is in fact a trap. I do not know Jesus inside of the real world, and thus I find it very difficult to pass judgment on this theory. I would say that the best course of action would be to simply ask Jesus yourself inside of a respectful manner. This next theory comes from Dominic Payne Brown. I have a question for you, anime lord. Would catgirls have paws or hands? While I do not consider myself to be a feudal anime lord, I do appreciate the compliment. As for the second part of the theory, it really depends on what humanity is searching for in the moment that we choose to create catgirls. If the furry population increases substantially, then it may be a worthy compromise to have the catgirls have paws in order to please everybody. Either way, I think that I would mainly just be happy that the catgirls exist in the first place, rather than getting caught up on the details. Now, from Mooster, can you have sexual intercourse with a stand from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? Well, the simple answer here is no, unless you are a stand yourself. After all, only stands can harm other stands, and thus it is impossible to even touch a stand, much less engage in sexual intercourse with one. Now, from Wild East, how deep that anime girls can suck PP? Just asking. I really feel that this theory highlights the high IQ nature of our community. In fact, I don't think that I could have made a better theory myself. Before we can answer this theory, we first have to figure out exactly what was meant by the word deep. I am going to interpret this word as being that of metaphorically deep rather than physically deep. The act of suck, in general, is not a very metaphorically deep action. In fact, it is one of the most literal actions that can be taken, with few ulterior meanings. Thus, I would say that anime girls sucking PP is in fact not very deep at all. Now, from Dumb Kid 101. I'm asking the probability to become a sage if you're still a virgin when reached 30 years of age. With age comes experience in the form of higher amounts of knowledge. Thus, your chances of becoming a sage are drastically increased by the time that you're 30, whether or not you're a virgin. In fact, I would say that that has little to do with this theory, and thus, this question is fundamentally flawed. Next up, coming from Stanislaw Druinkowski. This comment is pretty long, so I'm only going to read out the theory portion. What kind of animal girls would be best? Now, if we can only choose one type of anime girl, then I would say that cat girls would probably be the best, as they are the only one that we've seen to gain a significant following for a real-world creation. In fact, one could say that cat girls were the original movement for the creation of such a crossover event. Since they were the first, and also seem to be the most popular, that is the one that I stand by. However, in an ideal scenario, I don't think that we should be imposing arbitrary limits on ourselves. What would be best would be to create all kinds of animal girls and boys in order to suit the masses. This next one comes from Maximo Reynoso. How many cat girls could a star platinum lift? While we never get any definite measurements as to the amount of weight that star platinum can lift, based on our current drawings of cat girls that we have, it seems likely that star platinum would be able to lift significant amounts of cat girls, as they really probably do not weigh that much. I would estimate that the average cat girl weighs between 80 to 200 pounds, with the majority of them being somewhere in the middle, but probably closer to 100. However, the amount of weight is not necessarily the limiting factor here. I think that it would be very difficult to balance more than only a few cat girls at a time. Thus, I'm going to say probably around 5 cat girls would be the limit before they would fall off. Next up, from the legend Daddy Jizz himself, we have, if sub can help you learn Japanese, can dub help you learn Jamaican music? Now, the answer to this theory is an absolute yes. By listening to lots of dub music, I have no doubt that you would get better in recognizing what the main traits of dub are. If you tried to make a dub track without ever having listened to another one, it would probably be near impossible to get the sound correct. Thus, dub is one of the most helpful ways to learn to get better at Jamaican music. However, there are also many other forms of Jamaican music that listening to dub is not going to help you improve. This theory comes from Paven 260. Animeniaks, consegue me ayudar a aprender novas línguas. Edit. We did it, guys. Portuguese no more. The part that I find especially interesting about this comment is the edit. It is extremely ominous, to say the least, as it somehow manages to be both threatening and extremely unclear. What this commenter may have been saying is that the Portuguese language is no more. The alternative is that this one commenter has somehow managed to completely wipe out an entire country of people. Now, to address the theory itself, depending on what language you are trying to learn, then I do suppose that watching my videos could, in fact, help you learn that language, assuming that what you're trying to learn is English. While I do feature some Spanish in my other videos, I never end up speaking it out loud, so it would be of little use to the viewer to attempt to learn Spanish through my videos. However, my use of English is also of a limited value to the viewers due to the fact that I do not use a conventional accent inside of my videos. That is going to be it for theories on this video. If you want to get into a future one of these videos, then make sure that you leave your theories in a comment on any of my videos, but preferably the new ones because I don't check the old ones very often. If it's entertaining enough, then you've got a good chance of making it in. Also, someone started up a fan subreddit, so if you're interested to discuss me in a Reddit way, then feel free to check it out. That's gonna be all. Goodbye.